this woman, I don't know, flagged that Savannah's book, which was released in February of 2024, discussed a game she used to play as a kid with her cousin, and it was a kidnapping game involving Nancy. So we pulled the audio that Savannah did of her book. In it, you're going to hear her talk about her cousin Terry, who was, she said, like an aunt to her growing up. Terry's 20 years older than Savannah, so Terry would be 74 right now. But listen to this.
About once a year in the summertime, Cousin Terry orchestrated a kidnapping of my sister and me. It went down like this. The cousins would visit for a few days at our house in Tucson, and then, on the morning they were to leave, Terry would wake us up early, shushing us in the pre-dawn darkness as we made our escape. We would all pile into her rickety station wagon and head north, the sky streaking with bright oranges and pinks as the sun rose over the colorless desert landscape. Somewhere between Phoenix and Tucson, Terry would make a pit stop and let Annie and me call home at a payphone. "Mom, Cousin Terry kidnapped us to take us to her house." My mother would feign shock, protest how terribly she would miss us, then assure us she'd drive up to retrieve us in a few days.
Jonathan, that is just eerie. It's eerie. She released that in 2024, talking about kidnapping and her mom and her sister and Savannah, a cousin. I don't know about Cousin Terry. I'm not sure whether Cousin Terry is still in the picture or what, but I'm not suggesting Cousin Terry is behind this, but I'm suggesting that just the mere discussion of kidnapping amongst the Guthrie family is potentially the kind of thing that could put an idea in somebody's head, could potentially be relevant in trying to track down where somebody first got the notion of a kidnapping and the Guthries. And then you have 3 months ago, Savannah with her mom in Tucson on the Today Show, showing off where they eat, where they hang out. I'm just trying to piece together how this possibly could have even come about, since the idea of kidnapping a mom is unfathomable to most of us.
Yeah, that is, there's a lot of detail to that story. And so, I have a degree in political science and psychology, double major that is, I call it a double useless degree. But some of the things that I do remember out of psychology that really stands out is that there was one woman who had, one of the case studies, she had like 14 different personalities. And she had a sister. Well, they were both abused as children. And their mom would do things like when they were, she felt they were being bad, she would put them in a bathtub with scalding water in it and make them sit there. And one developed this incredible, deep psychosis. The other one was pretty normal and just hated her mom. So, this is another reason why I wouldn't rule people out. And I'm not saying people should go down this rabbit hole, but as law enforcement, I don't rule these things out, because if the sheriff's never heard this before, this would be something that I would definitely look into. But anybody who's read that book as well, as you both have talked about stalkers, and we heard the other individual from, I think it was a BBC or wherever she was, talking about her stalker, people latch on to things in weird ways. And I know, Megan, Maureen, perhaps you have, because you're on TV a lot, and I know, Megan, you've probably had these, where you get emails from people that say some of the weirdest things, especially if you've been in the FBI. They're like, "Can you help me out with the FBI?" Or people will write and say, "Hey, can you introduce," I used to host for Sean Hannity on the radio. I was his fill-in host, and people would write me and say, "Hey, can you get me in touch with Hannity? I got to tell him these things." Right. Well, that's not realistic.
Oh, sure.
And so I think when we look at, again, the totality of that show that was on there, it showed where Nancy lives. It talked about Savannah. And then there's this book out. This is kind of a striking coincidence, which does happen sometimes, but a striking coincidence I think needs to be looked into. And I would, if I was investigating this, I would be looking at the people who continuously send TMZ these emails about how they've seen Nancy, right?
Because yes. We're going to get to that, because there's another one.
Because that is the individual who very well could be responsible. Again, if these people are that wacky, like you were talking about, or this other woman who was stalked, the person thought they were in a relationship. So if a person, they could be thinking two different things at the same time, and still trying to get some kind of glory out of this. So I would really
That's very
seriously be
interesting.
looking at that.
Hadn't
person.
even considered that.
Yeah.
Had not even considered that the what seems like a fraudster continuously emailing Harvey Levin at TMZ about how I know who the kidnapper is and I want a Bitcoin. Well, half now, half later, might actually be the kidnapper looking to insert himself into the discussion, as opposed to the person who wrote the first two $4 million, $6 million demands.
Sure.
That's an interesting thought. I had not even considered that because the person sounds so farcical. Hold on, put a pin in that because I do want to come back to that. But while we're on the subject of the potential stalker, we showed this a couple weeks ago with all of you, but let's take a look at that Today Show segment that I've now referenced a couple times that happened 3 months before this.
You guys came here in the 70s and you'd been moving all around. What made you want to stay in Tucson and plant roots?
And so wonderful. Just the air, the quality of life is laid back and gentle. Yeah, I like to watch the jabalina eat my plants.
But the best thing about Tucson is coming home and seeing you guys. Should we raise a glass? Prickly pear margarita? Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Love you.
Love you.
It's eerie now. It's sad. Maureen, you're right, by the way. The pictures of Savannah and her mom are like very compelling. They're very compelling. You can see the love radiating off of these two. And I can relate to it. Honestly, it's like Savannah used to not, we've talked about it many times. Her dad died when she was 16. My dad died when I was 15.
My dad died when I was...
Both of sudden heart attacks.
Yep.
Yeah. Like there's something, I don't know.
Your mom becomes your mom
definitely
and
does
your
something.
dad. Your mom, when your
right.
dad dies young, your mom becomes both parents. And my mom wasn't the tough guy when we were kids, but she had to become one because she had 6 teenagers when our dad died.
Well, it's no accident you became an FBI agent. It's definitely no accident you became an FBI agent. It's not, and it's no accident. Savannah and I both went to law school, and then we both became reporters. And I don't know, I would suggest for the record, maybe we both had something to prove of our own. There's no question that the loss of a father figure and an actual father at a very young age has a profound impact on a young woman. And Savannah did not want to leave her mom when it was time to go off and get her first reporting job, and the mother insisted that she do it. I understand that too. It was like I had it more when I went to college. I felt so bad because I was the third kid, and I did not want to leave my mom alone at all. You know, I knew she'd be alone, and I did. My mom said, "You're going. Like, get out. This is it. I insist." And I went, and so it's incredibly sad, and it's incredibly awful to think that something as sweet as a segment with her mom could possibly have played a role in the mom's targeting, or like a fun childhood story about like a silly game. But that silly game involved the word kidnapping, and even a fake kidnapping within the family where they took her. You just never know what's going to set a lunatic down the lane he or she goes.
Sweet baby Jesus, can we just rid this world of all the lunatics? They are just outnumbering us at this point. It's crazy. But with regard to the kidnapping thing in her book, it sounds like the older cousin, Terry, was just coming up with some like secret plan to get the kids up early in the morning to get them out of the house to beat the traffic. And she just had a good imagination. How someone else takes that is a totally different matter. My dad, if he were late coming home as a joke, he would call my mom and, she'd be all upset. And he would just say to her, "Hey, Mary, don't pay the ransom. I've escaped." And we would all crack up. And she'd say, "That son of a gun," But so there are people that can find a little dark humor in things. And my whole family's first responders, so we all have that kind of dark humor. Mm-hmm. So I'm not blaming.
We're Irish, so we have it.
It's so true of the Irish. We can't, we try to hide it, but it just, when it comes out, you just see everyone burst into laughter and
yes,
you just got to hit
We
it.
joke about everything. Inappropriate and appropriate.
Especially
and
inappropriate.
It's a great way to go through life, honestly. It's like that's why you don't get too stressed out, and hopefully you live a long life because you're not running around with high cortisol all the time. You laugh it away. It's a very effective tool.
If we got rid of all the bad people, like Maureen's saying, social media would be reduced to about 10% of the people that go on there every day. So we wouldn't have social media anymore.
This is also true.
Some potential lunatics would dive right in.
And now that leads me back to the fourth letter that Harvey Levin got over at TMZ. So as the audience knows, I know Maureen's rolling her eyes and throwing her head back. I know we all feel that way. Like, what the F?
I'm starting to wonder, does Harvey have an alibi for where he was that night? Just kidding.
Many of the Twitter follows, like, they're so fed up with like the way this investigation is going. They've been like, have they checked under Nancy's bed? Have they checked the basement? You know, some basic searching mechanisms that they're pushing. But here's what's happened. Harvey Levin has now gotten 4 letters from someone not claiming to be the kidnapper, but claiming to know who the kidnapper is. And for the low, low price of 1 Bitcoin, he will tell Harvey who the kidnapper is. That's how number 1 started. Then it grew to, well, now the FBI is offering 100,000. Bitcoin's only worth 65. So I'll take 100,000 for my information now. And I want it to be 50 grand in Bitcoin before I reveal and the other 50 after I reveal. Different iterations of this. And also he was offended that they raised the award. He was like, I feel attacked, something like that.
I thought that was great.
Person sounds like an absolute moron. So Harvey was on TV, you'll be shocked to hear, talking about this development. And here is what he said, SOT 57.
I have something to say to you. And I have already talked to the FBI about this, that if you are not real, you're committing a crime. This is the 4th letter you've sent, and I should tell everybody that in this letter, it says, I know what I saw 5 days ago south of the border, and I was told to shut up, so I know who he is, and that was definitely Nancy with them. This is the 2nd time he has referred to more than one person involved in this. He also says one of the reasons he's worried about coming forward is he has a record. He has a burglary on his record from 10 years ago. If you're worried about getting this money, and you really do have this information, send it to us. You're sending us these letters. Send it to us. We will forward it to the FBI. So this is a way for you to get that money if this really is legitimate.
Okay, so now in the 3rd letter, by the way, that preceded this, Harvey said the man had written, be prepared to go international. Be prepared to go international. And so now we've got a 4th letter claiming he saw Nancy with, quote, them in Mexico, Jonathan. I mean, to be honest, we haven't fully explored the south of the border possibilities. The sheriff kind of ruled them out the other day. I mean, I don't believe the sheriff. I got to be honest. I don't believe a word that comes out of the sheriff's mouth. But the other day he did say, like, no, we don't even think that's a thing. So okay. Based on what? Your Democrat policies? Truly, like, how have you totally ruled out south of the... You don't know who fucking did it. Sorry, I've had it with this guy. Should we be talking? Should we be paying a Bitcoin and a half to see what this guy may know about south of the border?
Well, first of all, let me say that, you know, again, hosting radio, you make live reads so easy because they're terrible. But as you can see, Harvey Levin, who I figured he would be able to read a little bit better than that. That was terrible, first of all. But
it was pretty stilted.
Yeah. So, but listen, this goes back. I found something very striking. I've heard him read that already a couple times, but for whatever reason, it didn't jump out at me that the individual that is supposedly writing these letters, first of all, are they coming from the same email? And if they are, then that is very telling. Secondly,
I think he said yes. I think he did say they are.
So the individual just said that he has a record for burglary. Now, I find that very odd as well. As I told you the last time I was on here, 20% of the people who commit a homicide are the ones who call in and report the homicide. So they think that it's going to keep them out of trouble or for whatever reason. So it could be the case, and I would hope that they are looking into this, that this individual could be the one who was actually going in there to burglarize the place, didn't even think about TMZ or anything, and then these other potentially fraud ransom letters came in and were read by TMZ, and so this individual reached out because he wants to get some money for something. Perhaps it was a robbery gone bad. But the reality is, again, when we're looking at the totality of all these things, this is how you go down as an investigator. You have to look down these rabbit holes.
International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There is a never-ending list of reasons gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. Gold can thrive during uncertainty, which is why it is a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text MK to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider letting Birch Gold help you diversify with gold, so you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Text MK to the number 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.